deja vu, it feels like. Another 4-0 shutout? Didn't we just do this? Should we just replay that post-game show?
I'm in.
My goodness. Thank you all for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes post-game show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Craig Morgan, Steve Peters, and I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
My dinner was good.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments about your dinner already.
There have been a lot of comments.
Which we'll get to in a little bit. Or right now, actually. We can get to it right away. Let's just talk about Craig's dinner. Let's just do it right off the top. If you missed this on Twitter, Craig literally did a bring your own charcuterie board. He crafted this. I'm just spilling water on the floor. Well, his wife packed him a dinner in a lunchbox, and he brought his own tablecloth, his own chilled Pellegrino, and his own silverware.
Kalamata olives.
Yeah, not OGs. I know someone thought they were OGs,
No.
but
Good hard salami. I had. You guys want to know the cheeses? I had Port Salute. I'm gonna stop.
Somehow it's more interesting than this game.
You know what I'm trying right now? I'm trying the peach for the first time because Petey tells me I need to try the peach golden ale.
Wait, drink it right now. I want to get
take a sip right here. Petey just checked his watch, by the way.
No, I'm just going to see how long it takes until I get to talk in the show.
No.
Like we're 2 minutes in?
Whatever.
It's kind of like the Coyotes in the first few minutes of this game that they didn't decide to play for the first frickin' 12.
It's a subtle peach.
Okay, we'll let you go about the game.
No, they didn't get a shot on goal for the first 12 minutes. For 12 minutes. Do you know, that's a long time in a hockey game to not get a shot in 12 minutes. This team continues to do that. However, they end up with more than 30.
I know.
Absolutely amazing. Too bad they weren't ready to play when the puck dropped on this one. This one was over by halfway through the first. Game over.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally.
It's too bad. I feel bad for Connor Ingram because, you know what? He didn't get a lot of run support again tonight. Shutout, can't win.
No.
Can't win if you can't score.
Not a lot of good defensive play in front of him early in this game.
Good
either,
God, no. Like, are we taught? I get so tired about talking about their poor defending and turnovers inside their own zone, and it just continues to be a problem. I will say this for Connor Ingram, though. He can't kick the puck back out on those rebounds and give them a second and a third opportunity on 2 of those. So, it's not his sharpest he's played either. The reality is that building is just horrific for the Arizona Coyotes. They've won once in their last 15 times into Dallas. It's a tough building to play in. We've already talked about how tired this team is against the number 1 team in the Central Division. This didn't look good going in.
No.
And it ended probably pretty close to what we thought it was going to end up with Dallas on top.
Yeah. And it's Connor Ingram. I mean, he made 35 of 39. He almost had a 900 save percentage in the end, but you can't win if your team doesn't score goals, and now they haven't scored a goal for 6 straight periods of hockey. Like, it just, the thing that bothers me about this stretch right now, and listen, I'm fine with all the losing, I am, but there was a stretch of time where they were losing, and it was fine. Like, even in that 9-game losing streak, they were still close games. They were still entertaining games. These games have just been, and I can't even blame them. I mean, we've gone over the schedule so many times, and I can't, we're tired. I can't even imagine how much more tired they are. Just a brutal, ruthless schedule. And it's just basically survive until the All-Star break.
When they lost the last game at home, we got Andre, and I told you guys this off camera, but the last question, he was talking about, the situation they're in with the schedule, and he's saying, you're saying it's tough, but they got to find a way. And I said, now you got to get back on a plane. And he started to go there. He started to finally show how frustrated he was with the schedule that they're facing, but he cut himself off because you can't do that as a coach. You can't do that as players. But listen, it's real. It's real. It's not just that they're playing 15 games in 26 days, which there are a lot of teams that are playing condensed schedules this year. It's the fact that the Coyotes don't get to settle in to any kind of homestand because of their situation at Mullet. They'll play at most 3 home games and they go back on the road for a game or 2. They come back home, play. They go back on the road again. It's exhausting, and you're really seeing it in this team now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, you talk about these schedules too, and you start looking ahead to some important hockey games, and they play Anaheim a couple times. Anaheim has 7 games in this span, where the Coyotes have 8, so it's similar. But Anaheim's on a road trip right now, and they're on a 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to play the Coyotes, the 5th of a 6-game road trip. For them, they're traveling from Buffalo. I would assume they'll fly today because they played Buffalo already. The game's over. They're en route right now to Arizona, and they'll be here all day. Tomorrow will be a complete day off. Then Monday will be a day off. So they'll be here in Arizona when the Coyotes are playing Vegas. So
well rested.
They're both
Rest
flying.
up, Anaheim.
They're probably going to pass each other in the air. It's one of those times when they're both going to land roughly about the same time. And the difference is Anaheim has 2 days of no games, and the Coyotes have to play Vegas in less than 24 hours. So that bodes well for Anaheim on Tuesday, which we said before for the tank. That's might be a good thing. This team is not going to get a rest until the All-Star break.
That's it.
So they're just going to have to find a way and muscle through it. Is there a win? If there is, I'm not sure where it is because I just said what Anaheim's schedule is, but then Anaheim, I would think if there's a win, it's in Anaheim on the 28th. The last game of this is at 8:30 start local. Yes. That might be their win down the stretch.
Woo! All right. Well, let's muscle through talking about this one. There's not a ton. There's genuinely not a ton to get to. So let's take a look at the numbers on this one. Basically, just didn't even have to change anything from last time. Shots 4-0. Like you mentioned, Petey, the Coyotes actually had 33 shots on goal. And you found this stat that the Coyotes are 1-6-1 when they have more than 30 shots on goal in a game, which, it's funny because we often sit here saying,
that's the benchmark.
Oh, why don't you? They need to shoot. They need to shoot. You can't win if you don't get shots. But the truth is, the fewer shots on goal, somehow they seem to win those games. It
absolutely makes no sense. The benchmark is 30 shots. You want to get 30 shots on goal. That's what you try to go into a game thinking, if we get 10 shots per period, it's 30 shots for the game. They can't win when they get that much offense. That makes no sense to me. This is a team who wanted to get more shots on goal, and through 12 minutes, they had none. So you figured, okay, they're in trouble. They did have some good looks. Chychrun has a breakaway. Great save by Ottinger. I thought Schmaltz and Keller had really good looks on the power play in one power play. And I don't think, but by the time they got the third power play of the game, it's late in the third period, the game was over. I don't think they really had much juice left, and I didn't think they had much of an effort there. But this team is going to have to find a way to score on the power play at some point.
Well, if they can't score 5-on-5, then you have to capitalize on that. Because even if you're only scoring power play goals, at least you're scoring. Like, now we've gone through the stretch where they can't score goals. And besides that game against Detroit where, they took it to a shootout, they were losing 2-1 games last weekend, if you recall. So their offense has completely dried up.
7 of 9 games they've had 2 or fewer. 7 of their last 9.
Which is crazy because if you look at the start of the season, we were reading stats. Like, this is one of the few teams left in the NHL at the time that hadn't scored fewer than 2 goals, if you recall. So it is just interesting. This season kind of feels like a flip of what we experienced last season, where it started horrible. It got, better here and there. This one started a lot better. And I mean, I guess if you're going to be horrible, now's the time because we're seeing the results, which is the team plummeting in the standings. But man, is it brutal to get through.
Yeah, that's it. We've talked about you want them to be competitive. You want to watch competitive hockey, and lately they haven't been competitive. But again, I know we sound like broken records. You got to give them somewhat of a hall pass on this because the schedule is it's killing them.
Yep.
It's killing
absolutely
them.
Is. Well, let's take a look at your keys. Petey. And you're usually pretty on point with these, so let's see how it did tonight.
Well, road is clearly a problem. That's their 15th straight. Not only did they struggle on the road, they haven't beat a Central Division team on the road this entire season. That bodes well for the tank.
To remind people, that is their division now.
The division you're in, the teams you play the most, and you haven't won once on the road, that is good for the tank, not good for the team. They weren't ready to play. They didn't get a shot on goal 12 minutes in. They're down. Game was over by the time the Coyotes woke up and were ready to play. So that clearly didn't check that box. Jamie Benn's one of those players that just beats the Coyotes. That's just what he does. He plays well against this team. He's got 18 career goals against this Coyotes team. He scores a goal on the power play 5 minutes in that makes this one out of reach before it even gets started. Defend the crease. We talked about the blue paint and their ability to get to rebounds and second chance opportunities. So I give the Coyotes 0 for 3 on the keys, which leads to a loss.
Yep. Not Not great. It's so funny. This morning I was on DraftKings and I was looking at this game because I was thinking maybe I'll take a player prop or something. And on DraftKings, it's cool because you can see what percentage of the bets are placed on which team. Guess what percentage of the bets were on the Coyotes for this one?
5%.
You want to give a guess?
I feel like I can't go any lower. How about 0?
5 is actually correct.
I should have bet on that.
It was 5% of the bets were on the Coyotes, 95% on the Stars. So congrats to the 95% of people who bet on the Stars today. You would have won yourself some money on DraftKings. And you guys, I won myself some money because if you recall the promotion that if you lose a bet, you get a free bet back. So I had that free bet from that. And I went to go use it today because it expired today. And I decided, let me just throw it on a first touchdown scorer because, good return if it hits. And if it doesn't hit, it was a free bet. Travis Kelce, first touchdown scorer, plus 500. I won.
Unreal.
So I'm very thrilled about that today on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So if you want to do stuff like that on DraftKings, you can do so. We're right in the middle of the NFL divisional round. And right now, all new and existing customers can take a shot at an even bigger payout with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Boost your NFL winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code PHNX. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL divisional round and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Now that you've had a few sips, what are your thoughts on the peach?
I like the peach. You were
It's
dead
subtle,
on
right?
with the way you described it, too. It's like I heard peach, I'm thinking.
Yeah, same.
But it's really subtle peach flavor. It's good.
It's
good.
really
It's
refreshing. It's really summer. Like it screams
citrusy summer. It does.
And what are you drinking right now?
I went with the Rattle On Red Ale because,
You're a red
as
ale
we
guy.
said last week, there's no kilt lifter
in the
office.
You might have drank it all, Petey.
I did because nobody else drinks it. And now it's gone.
Except for half of Arizona, apparently.
Yes.
The most popular beer
in Four Peaks Arsenal.
Well, if you want to drink with us, you can do so this coming Wednesday. Last Wednesdays are back. Join the PHNX crew at the 8th Street Pub on January 25th. All of the shows are live and in person throughout the day. We're the first ones up at 11 a.m., so we hope you join us. Enjoy $3 beer specials. Come say hi to us. Get some chicken tenders. It's going to be a lot of fun. I missed last Wednesdays. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been there. So
it's fun to
not me
hang out.
personally, because I did go another time. Just saying.
Yes. I mean, it's not the only time I go to Four
Try the
Peaks,
dip.
but the what?
The dip, the French dip.
Oh, I'll try it. Maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty
your
good.
food recommendations at Four Peaks have been on point. Maybe not so much your other food takes, but that's for another day.
Specifically Canadian food takes?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. Well, as you can imagine in this one, another 4-0 shutout. If you watched our last post-game show, we gave King to a member of the other team. And this time we thought, that's a little mean. And Petey likes to get creative in selecting the king. So why don't you explain our process here?
We like to play little games to pick the king of the game. So what today we did is we put players' names onto beanbags and we played cornhole. And the idea was whoever's closest to the hole wins. We weren't aware how good Leah is at this game. So my plan didn't necessarily work. But this is how we picked tonight's king of the game. So go ahead and roll it. Oh! Oh! You're not really supposed to try to make him. Well, the king of the game, we have a 3-way tie for the king of the game. You can't even read my writing. Jack McBain.
This was the other one. Troy Stetcher.
Troy Stetcher. And Yuso Valimaki are tonight's 3 kings of the game.
I'm dying.
The DraftKings king of the game. We have a 3-way tie for king of the game because Leah, and I don't know if you watched that, 2 of the 3 went straight in.
Literally straight in.
Didn't slide up the table, nailed it, swished. Not playing her at the company picnic.
Troy Stetcher, Jack McBain, Yusuf Alamaki are tonight's DraftKings kings of the game, and their stats are closest to the hole. But we have to explain why we chose the 8 we did.
We picked the guys that were at that time not a minus for the game, and I think they
ended up still not being a minus.
Yep. So those we picked
scored after that.
The 8 players that did not have a minus were the ones that had their names on the beanbags. So that's how it was picked, and those are our DraftKings king of the game. And Leah has a new hidden talent.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was very impressive.
I'm waiting to see what you guys come up with for the next game. what we're gonna do. I won't even be here. I'll be at I'll be watching Vegas.
Well,
from Mullet,
hopefully somebody presents themselves naturally.
There is a rumor that I might actually go to this game.
I heard that too. I can't remember where I heard it though. I think it was you.
There's a rumor I might actually go see a little bit of the Vegas Golden Knights.
And by the way, shout out to Chi-Town Cornhole for our custom cornhole boards.
Buddy.
Unreal. So
they have actually Phoenix is on it. I've got the Phoenix shirt. There's Phoenix on them. They have lighted up. They have score things on the back, cup holders on. They are money.
Yep.
Absolute money.
And now that they're here in the office and I've unlocked this new talent, I can't wait to play more.
Section 109 tomorrow, by the way. Petey will be signing autographs.
You're right on that.
Vaguely Sober checking in for their daily super chat. We appreciate you, Vaguely. $1.99. PHNX Tank Strong. You are correct, Vaguely. And that leads us to talk about this next thing, which besides Anaheim, everybody participated in the tank tonight. Columbus won 5-3. It would have been better if that game went to overtime and then they won, because then San Jose would have gone a point. But if one of those teams had to win, Columbus, Montreal beat Toronto.
Wow.
And Chicago beat St. Louis Blackhawks.
Yeah. Everybody participated except, you know who blew it? The Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo Sabres did not participate. So thanks for taking one for the team, Sean.
I don't know what you want me to say. They're a city of winners.
All
That's all they do.
kidding aside, we said just a few weeks ago that this Arizona Coyote team was 11 points?
11 points.
From Chicago?
Yep.
At the time? And we said, well, there's no chance. They're at best looking at 30th, maybe 29th.
1 point.
15 straight games like this? Are you out of your... No, it's 3.
The Blackhawks are only one back.
I don't think they've...
It's 3 to Columbus.
They did update it?
Yeah, 3 to Columbus.
Yeah.
And 1 to the Blackhawks and 2 to Anaheim. But
they didn't update
and the Blackhawks have 2 games in hand, right? I think they have 2 games in hand.
Yes, they do.
Which is crazy.
So
the Blackhawks are playing well.
We've said this all along. They're a better team than the Coyotes on paper. And what's going to be interesting for all of these teams, first, and I'm sorry to say this to all of the fans of those 4 teams, Arizona, Anaheim, Chicago, Columbus, those teams suck. They're bad hockey teams. That if you watch them play, they have some good players. They have some very, very high skilled players. But as a team, they're not ready to win. They're not, as a group of 20, ready to win. So this is absolutely going to be a race to the finish in the bottom of the basement. Without a doubt. The thing to look for is who can unload their players, the fastest, and unload the right players that are going to make a big difference in losing in the tank. And we talk about the Coyotes. We talked about Gostisbehere, Chychrun potentially, Ritchie potentially, and of course, Minnesota's native Nick Bjugstad is also on that list. You take Bjugstad, Gostisbehere, and Chychrun out of that room, the room changes. And the guys are going to be dejected. But you go to Chicago and you take a Patrick Kane out of that room, a guy that's won cups. He's a guy that's a veteran leader in that room for year after year after year. We'll see what that does to that room, too. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Keep winning without him in the lineup, though.
See what happens.
Yeah, he was back tonight. But, yeah, Anaheim's going to unload, too. So, people, I know each city talks about, when we unload our players. Everybody's trying to do it. It's like you said, who's going to have the most success? Because, everything is at a stalemate right now in terms of the trade deadline. I'm wondering if something might shake free a little bit at the All-Star break when GMs have the chance to assess their needs. You got this break. You say, okay, it's pretty clear what we need. Let's go make that move. Do you want to get ahead of the game? If you're a playoff contender, do you want to get those pieces before they're gone or before the market starts demanding greater return?
You can kind of set the market in that sense rather than being desperate at the end.
But as we see with GMs usually, it goes to the deadline.
Deadlines. If there's a deadline, they'll get to it.
5 weeks.
But one of the things to look for, too, is we talked about how a locker room, how important a room is and how guys get along. And you lose a piece that is well-liked, and I'll use Nick Bjugstad, and I know we joke about Nick Bjugstad, but he's well-liked in that locker room. He's a leader. He's a guy that's been around the league. And I think the players really sincerely like him in that room. If he leaves, that disrupts the room. There are other locker rooms where you have a guy that they might not necessarily like. And when that player leaves and you get a guy like, I'll bring up this franchise, Michael Carcone comes in and you go, guys like Carcone. He works hard. He's paid his dues in the American League. You actually can get a little jump, even though you're getting a player from the American League and losing a bigger name, real NHL player.
Yep.
You can get a jump the other direction just based on locker room dynamics and giving that kid an opportunity to play more. You wonder, can Carcone, for example, come in here and light it up for 10 games?
Yeah.
He might.
And the same could be said for a guy like Lucas Reichel with the Blackhawks when he gets the call back up.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, you just don't know how it's going to play out. You don't know how the dynamics are going to look.
But we have seen one of the biggest telltale signs of who's going to win this battle for the basement is where are the team defending and where's their goaltending? Because I think you can't outscore some of these numbers, and clearly we're seeing that with all four of these teams. Zegras gets 2 today, and you go, okay, they might get, but they're just not strong enough at defending, and their goaltender Gibson hasn't had a great season either. So you can't outskill and outscore some of your defensive shortcomings. And I think that's what's really going to come down to this. And sorry, Coyote fans, this team has not shown over the last few games their ability to defend and their ability to stop the opponents from scoring.
Yep. I want to read 2 comments. One, this one made me laugh. When you mentioned Petey's autograph signing, Ogie said, I'll be in 107 not signing autographs. I appreciated that. And then also, Eric said, I think this is the first time I've joined you all, and I enjoy it. Welcome, Eric. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, and thanks for commenting, and we hope you come back soon.
Yeah.
See, but Eric,
like tomorrow night.
We will say this. Sometimes,
and 2 nights after that.
Sometimes it's fun in here, and he should have been here against the Toronto game, because, by the way, we beat Toronto twice. The Coyotes did.
Actually beat them the entire year in 2022.
Yeah, four straight in 2022. So those shows are fun.
Isn't it like 28 straight games? I don't know. I've lost count.
I'm not. 2002 in Toronto. But sometimes we have to have a little pack therapy and all pull together and muscle our way through this till we can get through the rebuild to the other side. And that's all we're doing is holding each other's hands through the rebuild. And we'll be ready. Parade starts on Van Buren. Actually, it's on Mill now.
Mill Avenue,
yeah.
buddy.
It was going to be on Van Buren, but that was
or
way
Rio
back
Salado,
at America West.
Yep.
Rio Salado? Yeah, it could be on Rio Salado. Yeah.
Yep. Somebody had, Roaring Fork pointed out they haven't scored since Krause has been out, just saying.
It does make a big difference. And we not only talked about Krause's offense, it's his ability to separate the opponents from the puck, add a physical presence, kill penalties, all the things that he does. He's the front on the second power play unit. He is a big loss on this lineup right now. And we know his goal scoring prowess, but he's a big loss for this team right now. This team needs to be healthy.
Well, and the other thing is, we're now doing the second shutout in a row, and we're Krause being out, and he's leading the team in goals. And you look to the next guy who's next in goals, and it's Clayton Keller. But Clayton Keller has been very, very quiet lately. Some stats, in his past 10 games, he has 1 goal and 1 assist. And there's already 8 games this month in which he does not have a point, which I know they've played a lot of games this month, but for your, the guy that you look to as, the guy who's supposed to be producing for you and this team's all-star, it almost feels like, and I'm not saying they're correlated, it just feels like ever since he's been named all-star, he just hasn't lived up to that title. And again, everything we already said on the show, the schedule, the workload, all of it, I'm going to give him a little bit of grace. I'm not going to go after him completely, but your stars need to be stars, and he hasn't been. And
that another change that somebody mentioned is that Barrett Hayton's between Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller, and they haven't been producing. So do you go back to Travis Boyd? And I don't want to say that that's the sole reason, because I think Barrett Hayton has, for the most part, played really well. And the schedule, of course, is grinding these guys down. But, they did have some success with Travis Boyd between them, obviously last year and earlier this season. So we'll see what they try to do to shake Clayton Keller out of this slump. Maybe it's just a matter of rest, although he's the one guy who's not going to get a lot of rest because he's going to go to South Florida.
2 things. Well, one, I thought he had a really good look on the power play today, which he hasn't had in the last few power plays, so that's great. We talk about Keller a lot, and one of the fears I have coming off his big injury is the amount of ice time this guy gets without having any training camp. He again leads all forwards on this team again in ice time, and at some point you have to go, maybe he's tired. And I hate to use that excuse to professional athletes. They got to be able to play, but he continually, every night after night after night, he's playing 18 to 22 minutes, 23 minutes, one night, 24 minutes. It's a lot of ice time for a guy that plays in so many key situations. Nobody needs the all-star break more than Clayton Keller, but instead of getting a rest and putting his feet up in Arizona, he's flying the other side of the country.
Yep.
I mean, I know that it's not a hard game to play, and I know they're going to have fun. I get all that, but you still have to do it.
Anytime you get on an airplane is exhausting.
100%. and that far away.
2 time zones.
So I'm concerned about what his start is going to be like after the All-Star break. He just doesn't ever get a break. And I don't know, at some point, maybe when Michelli comes back and they go to a 12 forward lineup, that he can play 16 minutes in a game, 17 minutes in a game.
If they go to a 12 forward lineup.
Yeah, and they may never.
Yeah.
I get concerned because his production is starting to drop off, and I wonder if that's part of it. I don't know. I sit here by a microphone, so I don't know what his workload's like, how his heart rate monitor and all of those numbers they check after games, and how is he dealing with his rest. They know.
Yeah.
But I'm worried.
And the other thing that I think about, like we're coming up with a lot of reasons why this might be happening. You don't get any practice time to iron out the kinks. If bad habits are creeping into your game, there's no time to work on them. No time to correct them. All you can do is, this, show them video and say, hey. Yeah. But when you're not getting the reps,
unless you're on the ice, it doesn't matter. You need the reps. You need the video, and then you got to go on the ice and learn it, and then you go out in the games and correct it. Like it's a circle. Video, practice, game. Video, practice, game. It just goes round and around and around for 82 games plus the postseason. I want to come back to a comment that Julia made a little while, because we were just done talking about the trade deadline and talking about trades. We've talked about Jacob Chychrun for a year. On getting traded. And we talked about his value once he gets playing. We've talked about how well he started off. Again, he's similar to Keller, kind of slowed down just a little bit. Is there a chance he's still here after the trade deadline?
Yes, there's absolutely a chance.
Yeah.
First of all, if Bill doesn't get what he wants for Jacob Chychrun, he'll be here. They'll go to the draft and they'll try and trade him again at the draft. The other side of this that I don't know, last season, Jacob Chychrun did not enjoy playing hockey. He had a bad season. Part of it was on him. He didn't enjoy himself. He's enjoying himself. He told us this when you and I interviewed him. He's having fun again. I don't get the sense that the pressure to deal him is the same as it was.
Yeah.
In the
that's what I was going to say too, because I don't feel like, hey, he might not be all aboard the tank train and thinking this is awesome, but I don't have the sense of get me the hell out of here. I don't have that sense that we did a year ago right at this time.
To a bubble team or something.
Yeah.
I don't think that's, if he gets a chance to go for a team that's genuinely contending for a cup.
Yeah, we talk about Toronto a lot. Yeah,
sure.
If he can go to the Toronto Maple Leafs and have a run at the cup with Matthews and Marner.
Bruins.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that. But
yeah, it's interesting because I do think if he doesn't get the price he wants and he stays and it gets to the draft and you're looking, oh shit, the Coyotes are picking first. And he's a smart enough kid. It's Connor Bedard. We got Michelli. Cooley's coming along. We got Connor Geeky. That kid can play. Maybe I'm going to hang on here a little bit. I'm only 24 years old. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if Connor Bedard comes through the door and you're still on the roster, that might change your opinion of things a little bit. Yeah.
It might. And we even talk in jest a lot about Austin Matthews. But again, you guys want to go win, and you look somewhere and go, oh my God, they've got 4 or 5 studs in their 20s. Plus, you look at Keller and Chychrun if he stays, and Krause, and they're in their 20s. And you go, this team might not be bad. Yeah. So I think it may become more attractive to free agents. Again, not next season, but when you see the new TED getting built and you go, oh, maybe. Yeah. And people laugh and, oh, this is poverty franchise, all that. Forget it. When they get a new building on Tempe Town Lake with the weather they have in Arizona, with guys that can play and attempting to win, I'm telling you, free agents are going to want to come here. I promise you they're going to want to come here.
And the tax situation. Going to say it too. There's that too.
No,
Giddy up.
Players definitely consider that. And this is a perfect time for me to tell you, if you haven't yet watched Petey's Puck Talk from yesterday, Petey did a video breakdown of Jacob Chychrun's last season to this season and what he improved upon from his possibly the worst year of his career to this one where he's playing at a much better level. There's video, there's quotes directly from Chick himself. So check that out. It's on our PHNX Sports YouTube channel. It's also on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes, the link that is. So check it out. Petey worked really hard on it. It's really cool. It's really cool to see. And if you're trying to learn the game a little bit in different ways.
As I've said a million times, we have a former coach on staff. It's an unbelievable resource that you just don't see anywhere.
Yep.
And that when Petey breaks down a play, I said this on Twitter as well. Petey breaks down a play, I trust it. He knows the system. He knows everybody around the league. He talks to all these people. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what Petey does because I'm probably going to make a mistake in it because I don't know all the intricacies of those plays and those situations and the differences between the teams. That guy does.
Wow. Thanks, Craig. I appreciate that.
And the chat is
wow. I literally speechless. It rarely happens to me.
No, it's truly unbelievable, and that's why you should become a member at gophnx.com. Become a diehard, because this is the sort of thing that you get when you're a diehard as well. So we appreciate you. We appreciate our Discord. We appreciate our diehards. Drop a diehard in the chat. I know everyone does that. Diehard for Bedard. I love how that's kind of
for
become the thing. But yeah, just. Yeah,
well, I got my Die Hard jacket in today. I wore it.
Oh, you did? And yeah, I love the PHNX shirt.
I went with PHNX today.
Love it.
Love it. I'm in a quandary for my PHNX locker right now. I'm debating on another, as you call, sweater, what I would call a sweatshirt. I'm debating on getting another one because I know winter could be over tomorrow.
But it's cold right now.
Oh, I'm just debating. Arizona. There's another T-shirt, another hoodie. I don't know. Check it out.
Get another hoodie.
The locker.
Check out the locker, and when you grab your locker merch, your shirts, wear them to Mullet. We actually we sometimes see people
love it.
When we're at Mullet. We'll
Cody
see people.
At the Mullet.
We'll
Cody
see
Worldwide.
It on camera too. That's really cool for us. What?
Can I just address Erut's tweet about or comment about Connor Timmins? I need you to pay attention, buddy, because Connor Timmins has been in and out of the lineup. He's played about half the games this month. He's been a healthy scratch the other half. Once the Toronto Maple Leafs got healthy, and they're going to get healthier, he's a number 6 defenseman on that team, maybe a number 7 defenseman team. Slow your roll on Connor Timmins. He got off to a hot start.
I'm going to get mad at Erut.
Well, I'm just saying, I hear this all the time. We've talked about, okay, should they have given up on a right-handed defenseman who still has potential? But it's not like, oh my God, he's unbelievable. Slow your roll. They put him in great situations initially. They evaluated him. Then they took a step back and evaluated what they saw, and they thought, he's probably a third pair guy at this point.
Well, I will also say this. If you look at the stats, the Toronto Maple Leafs are 9th in goals.
Right, they put up a ton of
goals
points.
for per game in the NHL. You know who isn't 9th?
Mm-hmm.
The Arizona Coyotes. They're 28th in goals for, but Toronto scores more.
No, it's good, Erut. I just want people to understand that. Like if you look at what's happened recently,
and Erut, I'll say this. This is one of the things that comes up a lot when we talk about draft picks. We talk about Marner versus Strome. Well, Marner's got all these points. He's playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep.
With Austin friggin' Matthews.
Yep.
Like Dylan Strome played here. Like, no offense to here, but it's here. And so it makes a big difference. You can't. Connor Timmins wasn't going to put those kind of numbers up here because no defenseman is, except guys playing on the first power play like Gostisbehere and Chychrun.
I'm not even sure what happens to him as they get fully healthy. If they may try and put him on waivers too.
Yeah, and
the same situation.
You would have liked to have held on to a right-handed defenseman for the future that they're going to need a guy like Connor Timmins, and he could have evolved into a player. Unfortunately, they were going to lose him for free. You had to make that move.
Yeah, because they felt like he wasn't ready to play regularly.
So, we hear you. Yeah. We wish we'd had a right-handed defenseman in the stable.
And it's definitely a need within this organization, too. They need defensive prospects.
Yep. Okay. Circling back. Okay. When you grab your PHNX merch, wear it to the games.
Yes, at the Mullet.
At the Mullet. And if you want to get yourself some tickets to those games, you should check out Game Time. Save up to 60% when you buy your tickets last minute, especially if you want to go tomorrow, see Vegas, see a top team in this league, a playoff team. Check Game Time tomorrow. Check as close as you can stomach to Puck Drop. I promise it's the cheapest tickets that you'll find, and the best way to support us is by using the link below in our description when you buy tickets. And then let us know what games you're going to. There's 3 Coyotes home games coming up here this week, so lots of opportunities to see them in action, and maybe the Mullet Magic, with the help of the fans, can help lift this team at least to scoring some goals. Not necessarily winning, but scoring.
You don't want to see the guys go through this.
No. This has been brutal.
So hard on
this has
players.
been brutal.
Yeah,
it just has. But
no. Are you?
I'm not done.
Okay.
But luckily for us, not maybe for them, but for us, we have OGs.
Oh, yeah.
Because on nights like this. And I got to give you credit. You haven't sighed a ton tonight.
No.
We haven't really had to break out the OG side tracker. But thank goodness we have OGs because they're amazing. They serve every need. You can take the Sleep Edition gummy. They have microdose. They have indica, sativa, different flavors. We tried the blackberries and cream the other week. Unreal. And I can't wait to try the strawberries and cream new flavor. You must be 21 or older to enjoy OGs, but you can find them at your local dispensary, so check them out there.
So the Golden Knights are playing tonight at home.
Yep.
They're playing the Washington Capitals tonight.
Beating them 3-0.
Yeah, in the second period. So again, it's one of those, what did I say? Anaheim was flying in here. Coyotes are flying in here. And Vegas is flying in here. There's going to be 3 teams.
Poor Rudy.
Yeah, Jason Rudy's got to take him. Oh, boy, howdy. It's a late night for Jason Rudy. Good luck with that, Jason. So we'll see the back-to-back. Both teams on a back-to-back. Vegas coming from home with an hour flight. Coyotes are flying from Dallas, 2+, just a little over 2. So they're going to get here about the same time. I don't know what Sean just did, but whatever he did, he was very impressed with what he just did.
God.
Wow.
You could not do that again.
So you flipped the water bottle upside down.
Goal right
I
there.
literally, I tried to put it in the trash can. I somehow missed, and then it landed on its cap side
down.
up.
Cap side up for a bottle.
Cap side down, like on it. Landed on its cap.
Cap side down. That's impressive. I'd head over to the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
It's almost as rare as the Coyotes never moving up in the draft lottery one time.
Yeah, so I don't know what I feel about tomorrow night with Vegas having to fly too. I thought I had Vegas as a heavy favorite, but they're flying too. Granted, they're going to come off a win, and it's only an hour flight, and they're a much better hockey team. But we'll see.
Yep.
Aiden Hill tomorrow gets the start.
Probably, right?
Former Coyote.
Yeah.
Love to see
Why not?
All right. Well, we've talked about the upcoming schedule enough. I don't feel like we need to talk about it again. But let's look.
Anaheim twice.
Yep. Lose to Anaheim twice. Let's look at the punch card, though. We started a new line. Very excited about this. Lots of red, but one step closer. So let's go.
We're more than halfway, guys.
We are more than halfway.
That's a good feeling.
That's what matters. All right, Craig. I'm handing over this next segment to you.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people saw it by now. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the site 5 for Howling, which has covered the Coyotes for SB Nation for more than a decade, like 15 years now, I think it is, that 5 for Howling's been around. They were there for the good Dave Tippett years when they had the 3 straight playoffs. They were there for the run to the Western Conference Final. They were there for some of the dark days, like the 2014-15 season. There have been a lot of talented people that have come through there, a lot of hardworking people, a lot of people that I know, a lot of people that are my friends. And unfortunately, I got the news that Vox Media is no longer going to, it's over. It's basically over. I don't know if something else could possibly happen with the site, but Carl Pavlak, the guy who runs it now, wrote the story, and 5 for Howling will, I think my understanding is, will cease to exist in February, and that's a long run. Like I said, I've known so many of these people over the years. I just saw Carl Putnam, who wrote back in the days that I was talking about. I just saw him at the Caps game because he's a lifelong Caps fan. I worked with Jamie Eisner. You guys know Jamie Eisner. I did a podcast with him for many years, the Natty Hattie. There's so many good people. I just feel awful. I feel awful for them. I feel awful for the Coyotes community because this team doesn't get enough coverage as it is. I mean, we're filling a gaping void with what we do here. I just don't feel like enough outlets give the Coyotes enough coverage in this town. And I'm not going to name those other outlets, but you can guess. I don't think other outlets do credible service to the Coyotes, a professional hockey team. So it's really tough when you see a site like this that really cared. They really cared, and they tried to do their best. They tried to do some creative things. I think if you look at what SB Nation did in the early years, they're one of the keys to bringing analytics into hockey. There were a lot of good things that were done on this website over the years, so I'm really sorry to see it go. But more importantly than that, I'm really sorry for the people impacted by this, because it's not just 5 for Howling. SB Nation did this all over the country, and I don't have a list of all the hockey sites that are going by the wayside, but it's a lot of them.
It is a lot. And we want to acknowledge all of the people who have been a part of 5 for Howling. We have a full list of names here if you're watching on
I don't
YouTube.
know if it's a full list. I want to say that because I might have forgotten someone, but I did a lot of work. And I had some help. Thank you. Thank you, Carl Putnam. Thank you, Jamie Eisner. Thank you, Sarah Hall. Thank you, Brendan Porter. Everybody was doing work today trying to put this list together to make sure that we had everyone. I may have left a couple of names out of this list, but I tried to get everybody on. If I missed you, my apologies. But again, thanks for what you guys did for so many years to give the Coyotes fans more coverage.
Yeah, and a lot of people on this list still giving the Coyotes coverage, and to Carl, who is currently the one running the site. Carl and Robin have their podcast Locked on Coyotes, so give them their support as well. Like, we want to lift up, like you already said, there's not enough Coyotes coverage. This is a huge gap in the market, and anybody who can do it, like, we want to support them. And
for
this
the
is
love
a
of the
community.
game,
This
too.
is a community.
For sure.
Yeah.
For the love of the game.
And Coyotes fans are so incredibly loyal. So I hope this isn't the end. I hope, they're able to get on their feet but Napkin Jamie. Craig knew someone was going to notice Napkin Jamie.
I had something in parentheses, but that Sean took out, but it said Ghostwriter. Yes, Napkin Jamie was on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
well, good luck to everybody there too. It's the people that matter.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And we want to acknowledge another event that's happening in a couple months.
Leaving on a sad note.
I know. Well,
here.
we can try and wrap it up nicely, okay. But Oceanside, it's done. It's done.
Wow.
It's retiring.
Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna
shutting
skating?
in stores, and you can go to Oceanside for a final time on March 19th.
They'll have a skate on what some people tell me is basically slush now. The ice.
Oh, can't even imagine
the quality of it. So the new ownership comes in. They take control of the building on April 1st, and my understanding is very shortly thereafter the wrecking ball. Because if you look behind a couple of structures that were there, like the cell tower, they're gone already. I think
what's going to be there, Craig?
We don't know yet. Don't know. They have not released plans, but it's in the middle of a business park. I don't know what they're
for anybody that's ever had anything to do with hockey in this community.
Yeah,
you've been to this building. It is damn cold. And it reminds you of being back.
I've been ill. Yes. I've gotten ill being in that building.
But that reminds you of what hockey was like in Minnesota, Michigan, the upper Northeast. That's hockey. It's in a small building, then freezing. Great ice at the time. You might be right about now. But honestly, it's going to be sad to see it go, because that was the first practice arena for these Arizona Coyotes.
Yes, it was.
Back in the day, that's where they practiced. And you know where their gym was?
The parking lot.
In the parking lot. And if you think we're kidding,
with their own dumbbells.
We would not kid you. The players carried the dumbbells in the back of one of the players' pickup trucks, and they do workouts in the parking lot. Can you imagine the bougie players now doing that?
Also driving to practice in their equipment. I love that. Yeah.
Joe from America West in their gear. Like, that's not made up. You couldn't do that with a player now. There's no way they would go for that.
Crazy.
That is unreal.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you can, if you want to participate.
I don't know if I'll skate, but I'll go.
Yeah, March 19th at Oceanside. So we'll talk about it again as it gets closer. But
don't
just
wanted
to acknowledge that as well. Well, let's veer to a more positive note for a second. If you want to have yourself some fun, head on over to Octane Raceway in Mavericks. And by the way, the Super Bowl is very soon. It is, and you know what? It's going to be chaos here in Phoenix. So if you want to go somewhere where there's a lot of space, a lot of different TVs where you can watch this game, watch the big game at Mavericks. There's dozens of 4K televisions, a 20-foot Jumbotron, 5,000 square foot restaurant with a chef-curated menu, craft beers, including Four Peaks, and custom cocktails. Enjoy the Super Bowl experience at Mavericks. Book in advance at mavericks.com/thebiggame. And also check out Octane and Mavericks every day of the week. They always have a special going on. It's a really fun place to hang out, really fun place to go with your kids, with your friends, with your family.
And I just talked to a friend of mine that lives in Florida, former video coach of a different team, coming to Scottsdale for a bachelor party. They're going to Octane.
No way.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I told them it's definitely got to look it up for their age group, a little younger than me. But they're going to go check it out.
Like literally any occasion you can think of.
Yeah. So they're doing a bachelor party. Maybe a little hungover, but they're still going to that.
That's okay. There's good food. There's good food
and plenty of bars.
Yeah, just keep it going. Well, I've been hitting Underdog Fantasy pretty hard, and I got to admit, I haven't been doing so hot in the pick'ems. Luckily, I just put $3, and luckily Underdog gave me a deposit match when I signed up, so it's not a huge loss for me. I'm just having fun. It makes it so much more fun to watch the games when using Underdog. And if you want to participate with the pick'em game, with daily fantasy, and you could do this for any sport, like not just the NHL, the NFL, if your team's out and you want to be more invested, Underdog is a super fun way to do so. Like esports is on there. Any
pitchers and catchers report in less than a month, and I like doing pitchers.
Yeah, you love doing baseball on
Underdog. Pitch count, higher or lower. Yeah. My favorite.
So just a ton of fun stuff you can do on there. It's really easy to get started. Go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app. Sign up with the code PHNX, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. All right. Final thoughts. Final notes.
Just worried about the psyche of this team. As they go into the All-Star break. It's a rough run here, and it's not going to get any easier. It just feels like they need something to go their way.
They don't care about the tank.
Yeah, they don't.
The tank gets us through these shows. We can have fun and smile, but it does not get them through those 2-hour plane rides back in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
the team, what they need is, and we try to find those positives every game. Individual performances tonight was hard. Like, I don't know that anybody really stood up for me, and I think we need to see, he needs to have a good game tomorrow. It's Karel Vejmelka.
Yep.
He's had a few tough starts. He needs to have a good game tomorrow because if he can play well tomorrow and give this team enough time to get into the game, because the first periods are always tough for this team, especially after the short trip. If Karel can have a really good first period, they might have a chance to do something against one of their rivals in the desert. And so I hate to put all the weight on his shoulders. He needs to have a good game tomorrow. Yep, and let's hope he can.
I imagine he'll be one of the 3 keys.
I would imagine he will be.
JMT said, "Can the Coyotes play the Toronto?
I know.
Play Toronto again."
I wait till they get in the Atlantic Division, and then they will, which is coming.
So they're inching slowly across the country. We promised. Well, I promised we would end the show on a positive note. So I'm going to do that because we have a really exciting show coming up on Monday at 11:30 a.m. Coyotes general manager Bill Armstrong will be joining us live in studio to talk the state of the tank, talk some trade deadline, talk the upcoming NHL draft. So we're really, really excited to check in with Coyotes GM Bill Armstrong. That's Monday at 11:30 a.m. So be sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel so you don't miss it. You're not going to want to miss this.
Yeah, and the most exciting part for me is he's coming in the studio live, because at our old studio, at the old location, we had the French Bulldogs live, right?
No word yet if Bill's bringing
Coach
the Frenchies in. I don't know.
Jeff Toohey was there live. Coach Powers was there live. Josh Doan was in live. Yeah. This is the first guest we've had in this studio live, is it not? Am I right or am I wrong?
For PHNX Coyotes, yes.
Yeah, well, ours, HK on the other shows. But the Gar show. Yeah, so this is kind of a big deal. Yeah. And he's kind of a big deal.
He is kind of a big deal. Huh. Also a big man.
Yeah, he's very big, so he won't need the footstool.
He won't need the footstool.
Not going to offer that to him.
We're going to be nervous for that one.
I can't wait.
Can we drink at 11? Buddy.
By
the way, the answer to that is yes. Looking forward to it. That's going to be a lot of fun, because you know what? One thing Bill is, he's honest, and he's going to tell us. I mean, he gets the process and what they're doing, so he's going to be able to give us some insight on this. And I am really curious to talk about the draft, because this whole season has been about his scouts getting out and getting that right player. Because if they pick one, we all know he's going to take. We're pretty sure we think he's going to get a 2. But 3, 4, 5?
Yeah. You know, the other thing that Bill is, as you start to talk to him, you discover he's a really good storyteller too. So I'm
fantastic.
So I'm hoping we get some good anecdotes too.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Really excited. Yeah. So tune in for that. But before then, we'll be live again tomorrow night on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel after the Coyotes take on the Vegas Golden Knights. So tune in then. Like this video, subscribe wherever you get your podcast as well. Follow PHNX Sports across all social platforms. Stay tuned on YouTube, because we got Suns postgame coming up. We got Sun Devils postgame coming up after that. Lots of stuff going on all the time. And you can follow all of us on Twitter at SPetersHockey, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Sean_DePaz, and of course at PHNX_Coyotes. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.